This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work with another Wolff Responds. I want to talk to you right now about the huge spending programs, at least relative to what the Congress normally does, that was pushed through by the Democrats in the first 2 years, basically, of President Biden's regime. One of them had to do with infrastructure, one of them had to do with recovery, and the third one generally is considered to be the subsidy given to microchip producers. Both of them involve many billions of dollars. Both of them are classic big spending programs for which the Democrats are famous. And we certainly need improvement in our neglected infrastructure. We certainly need recovery from the enormous damage done both by the economic recession that hit in 2020 and the fact that it hit together with one of the worst public health disasters in American history, the COVID-19 pandemic. Whether we need to subsidize our microchip producers on a scale of tens of billions of dollars is a much more dicey question, but it is another big spending program, and it is huge government money flowing into the hands of the microchip corporations, or should I say, mega corporations. And that's what I want to talk to you about. These big spending programs pump the money, the hundreds of billions of dollars, if you add it up, into the hands of a relatively small number of huge corporations. Those are the ones who get the bulk of that money. And that ought to be a subject for a lot more debate than it is getting. Hence, this Wolff Responds. Because by filtering the money, because that's what we're doing, before it gets into the hands of the mass of the people, into the hands of our mega corporation, means that most of it won't get into the hands of the people who need it most, the working class, the employees, the people who don't have vast hordes of wealth to fall back on when the economy crashes or a pandemic hits. Here's what happens. The big spending is, we're told, is for infrastructure. Okay, that's true as far as it goes, but it goes into very particular hands. The big construction companies, the big companies that fix dams or fix harbors or build roads or all the other things that constitute, for example, infrastructure. And here's what those companies will do with the money. How do we know it? Because it's what they do with all the money they get, whether by selling their goods or by taking out loans or having people buy their shares. As the money rolls in, here's what we know large capitalist corporations do. Number one, they give a hefty share of it in profits to their shareholders as dividends. They give another big chunk of it as enormous salaries to their top executives and very good salaries to the whole upper middle level management of the company. And we know what they do with the mass of their workers. They try always, as they tell us, to economize on labor costs. That is, to replace workers with machines, to replace high wage workers with low wage workers, women, older people, young people, immigrants, or they may take the money and produce something overseas where they can pay workers less. In other words, we give the money for these important programs to people who divert, because that's their normal business. That's how capitalism works. To the shareholders, a big bunch. To the executives, a big bunch. And then the least possible to the mass of their workers. This is not because they're evil or greedy. They may be, but it's the way capitalism works. And the question that ought to be debated is not just whether the government should spend that money. I think it should. And whether it's spending it on important issues, putting aside the chip subsidies, I think they are. But whether it should be done by putting the money in the hands of our mega corporations, I don't think so. I think many of the problems we have are because we do our business in that particular way. That a tiny group of executives, a tiny group of major shareholders sit at the top of our system and decide what to do with all the money flows that happen. That's a major problem. And pretending it isn't there, pretending it doesn't matter, has got us into the difficulties we're in now. It's a shame and a criticism of the Democrats that they act as if there were nothing to debate, there were no alternative but to give all of those tax revenue dollars into the hands of the same corporations that represent the basic problems of capitalism today. Do you really want to spend a lot of money on institutions like the Norfolk Southern Railway, which neglected its railroad bed and produced that disaster in Ohio? That's what these large corporations keep doing. And it ought to be addressed before we just hand them vast amounts of money again and again and again. This is Richard Wolff thanking you for your attention, asking you to partner with us and share these videos so that other people can think about what it is we and you, our partner, have to say. And for those of you who'd like to keep connected to Democracy at Work, the institution that produces these videos, it's easy to do that. Just get on our mailing list, our email list. You can do that by going to our website, Democracy at Work, it's all one word, .info. And of course, the website will also allow you, if you're so inclined, to donate a bit to help defray the costs of doing this work. Thank you.